Hey everybody, welcome to this week's show or workshop, I guess. I don't know what it qualifies for. Um, so today I hope you're here to check out how to get started making Instagram face filters. You can see here that I have one set up that I made a little while ago for my personal account. Um, Getting something like this working is not insanely complicated. It's not something that's going to um, kind of break your back, or even like you don't really even have to know how to program. But if you want to do some more advanced things, you might want to know how to make those happen. And I can show a little bit of that today with what we're doing, and what you'll need to get that set up. So let me get into it. Let me just show you a couple of things first before I even dive into it. So first of all, like Instagram offers this service, basically using face filters, which is primarily an augmented reality uh, like type of software that's built into a lot of their programs, which includes Instagram as well as Facebook, since they're both owned by the same company, which is Facebook. Um, and I'm going to show you a tool you can use to create your own filter, either a face filter, or you can just even have like augmented reality working within Facebook. I think Facebook Messenger, or just Instagram itself, and it can work on a number of ways. Um, you'll be able to add animations, have programmed actions. So something like this, like uh, uh, so I like doing that. Um, where you can have different things happen depending on what your face is doing, or what maybe if you like touch the screen. I'm not going to necessarily dive into how to do that, but I'm going to show you how to get started and the things you can know how to do to get that working. Um, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about like the different parts of what make up a face filter, just so you can follow kind of what I'm showing, um, for creating your own face filter. One thing I do recommend getting in the mindset of for using a face filter, especially if you use Instagram a lot, is that it's something that as an artist you can have as your art practice, as well as like promotional material. So if other people use your face filter that you've created, and they're able to use by just simply following you, they you will be notified when like other people use it. You can look at statistics. You can primarily just see like what's happening. You're not limited to one filter. You can have multiple filters. So let me see here. Let me just switch real quick. So I could have something like I showed there, and then I have like maybe something else that's like this. Not really a face filter, but it uses the same software. Um, uh, uh, So you can create things like this and use them as promotional material for maybe an art show, or even just to have on your profile so that people will start following you in case you have like a really cool effect that you created. But I do think it's a really good way to showcase your artwork in an interactive way, and also like a very shareable form that is just kind of cool. Um, One for our nonprofit, and we're going to be continuing to do this at some point. Uh, where we are collaborating with artists too to convert their work into like face filters. This is from Ben Mori. He's a local artist. He designed like this face mask that we then animated and got programming to work with. So basically, like when I open my mouth, it changes, and also like the little head thing spins. So kind of seeing what that is, and I'm sure most of you already kind of know what a face filter is. Um, Before you get started to do this, you actually need to download some software, as well as create or have a Facebook account. So let me switch over real quick. Give me a second. Let me pop over. Okay, so the thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to download this program called Spark AR. Let me zoom in on here so you can see a little bit better. So Spark AR, the web address is a little bit hard to see on there. It's sparkar.facebook.com. And if you put that in, it'll just take you to the Spark AR website. And what Spark AR is basically the software that runs all the augmented reality and face filters in Instagram as well as Facebook. And it's what you use to create your face filters as well as augmented reality elements and stuff and whatever it is that you want to design. And they have some nice examples on here. The other thing you're going to want to do, and if you don't have this, maybe you might want to make a artist specific account for this. You're going to need a Facebook account that then you want to tie into your Instagram account. You can do that through the Spark AR website in their menu. Let me get my mouse. You can go to their menu and they have multiple research sources. Not seeing it. I think if you look up, let me see if I can get Spark AR or Studio. No, that's not what I want. Sorry. Just give me 1 second. They changed it around. When you start using it and set up your account, like once you download it, and you'll want to go to your manage effects on your website, even if you don't have anything uploaded yet. It'll ask you initially to log in using your Facebook account, which you'll then tie into your Instagram and everything. If you haven't done that yet, or you already have, you can get started on that even before you do all of this. If you notice here, also it gives me stats and everything on like my face filters, what it's been doing. I have one for my for interactive initiative as well as for my personal account. And you can in Spark AR on their website where you manage everything, you can upload and just trying to see. You can upload and check out some resources that they have, as well as test links that you can send out to friends. They can test out your face filters. One thing I want to say that I actually forgot to bring up initially is that currently, because of COVID-19, they have a review process that in order to get these face filters, they have to approve them and make sure that they're appropriate, or also like they fit their standards so that it works on all phones. Their approval process, I think, currently is on hold. I might be wrong because they posted that about a month ago. So at this point, it'll be on hold, but you can still make effects and test them out and everything. It's just the approval process will I'm not sure when that will be lifted. But if you start now, you'll have enough time to make a single effect or multiple effects if you want, so that when they can get submitted to get approval, you'll be ready to go and you'll have everything set up. So just keep that in mind. You can upload it to be approved for Facebook, which usually takes about a day, and Instagram takes like 3 to 5 days to get approved. So you upload it and then you gotta wait a couple days. So keep that in mind in case it's like time sensitive. If you have like an event that's tied to your face filter, you might want to make sure that it's going to be out in the time that you need it to. To get access to this part of the website, I think you just go to facebook.com /Spark Hub. So it's the word Spark, HUB, SPARKHUB, so Spark Hub. So just facebook.com /Spark Hub. Go to that. It'll ask you for an account if you don't have one, and it'll get you through the whole process. But to download the software, just go to sparkar.facebook.com. I'll try to put that up in the information on the YouTube video once this gets archived. But for the time being, you can just follow those links. So So after you've got downloaded the software, now it's time to basically start making your your effects. I already have it downloaded. What you can do, I'm just going to have it up here. When you first open Spark AR, you're going to be kind of have this like splash screen, this welcome intro screen that's going to look like this, and it's going to have little previews of different effects that you can like hover over to get kind of a preview of what you want. So if you wanted to do something with like eye color, these are nice little templates to like get you started. So this one here for eye color would be nice. If you have something that kind of like is on the face, kind of like what glasses that this guy has, you can do that. Or if you need like just background effects, so it's like a green screen almost where it blocks out whatever's behind the person. You can start with this template. They have like one for makeup. They have some augmented reality ones that they call like stickers. That can be like triggered by images or just placed in the world. You can have color filters, you can do different decorations. So the nice thing about this is that even though these are like set for very specific things, if you know you're going to do something with the person's eyes, then maybe you want to start with the eye color. If you're going to do something that's going to take time to set up a background, then maybe start with the background filter, and then you can start building on top of that. The thing that we're going to work with, for example, though, is this face mask, this kind of like scary looking tiger face mask thing. So I'm just going to use that template. I'm just going to double click it, and then it's going to load up. Um, and the nice thing too, even if you notice on the left side while it's loading, it says learn. You can actually use the learn section, and they run you through a lot of what I'm going to talk about. But I'm kind of here to just give you kind of an intro to what everything is. So when you boot up the program, you're gonna have this layout. This whole view here that you see that's in 3 dimensions is kind of your overall whole scene that's happening, even if it's not in the phone screen. Like just so you can see your objects. If you want to like rotate around what you're looking at, you just hold the right click on the mouse button, the right mouse button, and hold it. If you have a mouse wheel, you can like push up on it or back to zoom in and out. I can click on objects with my left mouse button. And keep in mind, you can do this on both Windows and Macintosh. And you can kind of just like manipulate what you're seeing. You can move objects around. I'll show that in a bit. You also get a nice little preview video of what your effect's going to look like on a person. So right now it has a little like tiger face mask with this guy, and he just kind of runs through doing different things. You can even like rotate. Oop. I can like change the aspect ratio a little bit. I can even change the phone device. So if I want like a Samsung phone, so if you just want to see how it looks like in different dimensions, you can do that by clicking at the top here. Let me see. So that's kind of what you're going to be looking at most of the time, primarily like to see what everything looks like. What you're going to then see is on your left side here, this whole menu here. These are all the objects and parts of what make up what you want to call probably your scene, which is primarily like your face filter effect, but like all the parts and components that make up that effect. So if you see at the top, the device, which is the actual phone, it highlights it here. The camera, which it needs in order to actually see or use your camera on your phone. Focal distance, that's kind of like how far it can be focusing on. You have like an ambient light, which it defaults to having, which you probably want to have because you don't want even though you might be well lit in your video, in the virtual space where the face mask exists, it doesn't have real light, so you need to add like a fictional light to it so that it matches what the color and everything that you want in what you're seeing in your video. And then a directional light, which kind of gives like shadows on it if you want to make it a little bit more realistic. Then here you'll notice, I don't know why I need to look into why it has these other face tracker. It has this element called a face tracker, which is basically like something that you add in order for the program to see the face and be able to recognize that it's a face and then start putting things attached to that face. Um, so that's kind of like your anchor and understanding of what the human face is for the program. And then what you can do is you can actually start putting objects like rooted underneath. So if you see this thing that's kind of like, I click the arrow here on the menu, there's these like this face mask object that is kind of like the actual face mask that you see right now that is highlighted. Um, but you can keep adding more and more things to that face, so it's like kind of like it gets anchored to it. And I'll show you in a second. They have multiple face trackers. I need to look at why they have that. I'm going to actually delete them, so I'm just clicking one, holding Shift, and clicking all the way down, pressing delete. I think that's primarily for tracking other elements that are happening on the face, but usually you primarily like need just one. And then they have the microphone, which can be useful mostly in order to, you might have like something you program that if there's a really loud noise, then when like the noise level hits a certain point, you can have like an effect happen, which I'll see if I can get into in a second. So this is so these are all the elements of your scene here. And what we're going to do is we're going to start adding things to it to make kind of give more objects and looks to it. But separate from your scene are your assets down here right underneath it. And your assets are basically things that you pull in to Spark AR to start making, like it's almost like you bring in a box full of toys and then you like start picking at the toys and oops, sorry. And you use those little blocks and pieces to then like pull it in and put it into your scene. So you can use all these objects. So it could be like a cube, it could be a sound, it could be a material, which is like the material that you see here is like the tiger face little texture thing happening. Um, and sounds. You can have a bunch of different things in here. So you need to import them into the program before you can start using them in your actual scene. And then I'm kind of blocking this. Let me move myself down here. Okay, so that's a little bit better there. So then on your right, I'll get to this at the bottom here in a second. On the right, if I click on the face here, so I have my face mask highlighted here. On the right here, you will get all the properties of the face mask. Excuse me. So here I can like click if it's visible. So if I turn that off, it's no longer visible. I can turn it back on so you see it. It has an eyes and mouth option. So if I click the eyes, well, it's not going to do it on this one. I'll show you in a second. You can like change the position on X, Y, and Z coordinates. So if I do on Z, if I do like 0.5, if you notice now it's like jumping out further than it's supposed to be. So like if I do 0.1, then it's kind of like in front of the face. So that might be something you can do for like a hologram effect. But right now we just want 0, the origin point, which is the face. I can scale it up so I can make it twice as big. If I change the scale of the X, Y, and Z to 2, then I have this massive face that's around the person. So if you want like a chibi type of thing, that might be something you can do. But let's change that back to 1. We want the original scale. And then you can rotate. So if you want to rotate like your face, I can do like, let's say, I'm trying to think, like 180 on the Z-axis, we'll turn it upside down. So now the face is upside down. So you can do some cool stuff with that. That might be something interesting you can play with. But we're just going to keep it the same. So seeing that, like neat, cool, we can do some pretty cool stuff with that. But we want to start bringing in our own like artwork or something instead of this like tiger face. So that's really easy to do. So like if you notice here in the materials, I don't know if the resolution is going to show it on your screen, but it's using a material that we have in our asset library, which is here on the left side, which is this face. Nope. It's the materials at the top here. It says face paint material. So the mesh, that face thing, the 3-dimensional face, needs a material in order to have that texture of the tiger face that you see. So we can like modify that texture to have a different look. We can make it more see-through, like the opacity we can play with. So if we change the properties of that material that this mesh is using, you'll see the effects happening on the screen here. So if I click in my assets, the actual material, so I have it clicked in my properties. I can start changing it. So if I click the color on it, if you notice, I'm changing like to like a green. It starts changing to green. It kind of like combines that color with it. Oh, you know what? I totally jumped over something. I'll go through this and I'll talk about the programming. So we can have like a yellowish tint to it, but I don't want to do that right now. I can also change it to be more metallic, so it's a little more like shiny. I can bring down the roughness, so now it seems like a little bit more like plastic. I can make it more metallic, so now he's like kind of a robot man. It kind of like gives that shininess on him. I'm gonna bring that down, pull up the roughness, so it's not as shiny. There's some other properties here too that I'm not going to get into, but like you can play with. You can have it be an emissive material, which means like it glows a certain way or light is not affected by it. So I can have it kind of glow a certain type of way. So like now the stripes are kind of like a glowy green, blue. So I can play with that. The emissiveness look is kind of cool if you want to do some more like neon effects. Let me see. Oh, and I forgot. Hold on. I'm having a brain fart real quick here. So after you do the emission, you can put a texture too for like something to glow on top of what you have. And you have all these other options. You can change the opacity if I bring this down so I can make it more see-through. You also can change the type of material it is. So the very top here in the properties, if I hit the shader type, I can click this and like they have one for face paint. So if I do that, it looks a little bit more like it's painted onto the person. But it also takes away other properties that you might normally work with. It looks a little bit weird in the shot, but in the actual like render, it's more true to what it should be. So I'm gonna go back and undo that. Oop, it got rid of the texture. I'm trying to think here. All right, so now we're a little bit tired of like the tiger look on this guy, and you actually want to bring in your own type of thing. So we're going to go back to that material that the face paint is using. If you see, I think the surface parameter here, it says ORM texture. You can click on that and change it to a new texture, but the problem is that we need to bring it into our asset library here on the left. So what I'm going to do is add an asset, this little button at the bottom right. You can also like click and drag from your desktop onto here, but I'm just going to do it this way. So at the bottom, hit the button that says add asset, and then they have import from computer. I'm just going to click that. And I'm going to bring in just this image that I got. So I'm just picture of my image. So you see like I have where my head is here. I'm going to pull this over. Have this like just a shot of some club or something on Miami Beach that has a lot of colors. I'm going to use that instead of the tiger face to like create the face mask. So now that I brought that in, it's in my library in my assets. I'm going to go back to the face paint material. And then I'm going to go to where it says the OREM texture, click that, and it'll show you all the textures that you have, which is the image file. And I'm going to put the neon lights one. Oop, that is not what I wanted. Why it worked before? Oh, it's because the patch created. So here, this shouldn't be. Sorry. So it's adding some stuff to it that I didn't want. So it was actually doing some programming that I had in it that was forcing it to be a certain way. If you notice that's happening, you can go down here in the patch editor, which is basically how to give it logic, and you can select it all and delete it. You always can go back and re-put it. If you notice, it actually removed the texture, which is totally fine. So now we have this kind of creepy like white mask that's on there. In the texture here at the very top of your material, you want to click it, and then we can do my neon lights. And now I have that on my character. It looks a little bit funky. It's a lot lighter than I want it to be. So I probably need to play with some of the parameters. Need to maybe bring down the emissive. That's looking a little bit better. I can make it, let's make it a little more like shiny, like more like a face mask, kind of metallic. I can also do the emissive color so it glows a little bit. So if I just bring up, ooh, that's way too strong. Actually, I think I'm okay with that for now. It looks a little bit crazy, but that is okay. So now we have this like kind of creepy, shiny like metal mask that's on there now. So that's kind of cool. And if I go back to my face mask or face mesh in my scene, I can like turn off the eyes and the mouth, so you kind of just have totally covered, or just only the eyes if you want to kind of give it an even weirder look if you want. So that's pretty awesome. Let me see. So once you do that, so that's like a really quick and easy way to just like put a face material on there. Like you could stop there and it would be still pretty awesome, because you can pretty much work with any type of image. Like let's say if I bring in another image, I don't know what I'm going to bring because this is all. What do I have? So I have like this. I could put a pie that I have here. I could put this gradient and bring it in that I have. It's just an image, but if I go to my my face paint material, I can change the texture to be my gradient. So now I have this like shiny future man thing, which looks pretty cool. And that was super easy to do. And then like if I wanted to make it more metallic, I can bring that up. If I want it to bring the opacity down, so kind of like it's kind of a weird, more plasticky face, I can do that. So this is literally just with a image file, like a JPEG that I can download off the internet, or you can design yourself, which I hope you do as an artist, and then apply it to the material. And then on the face mesh that they have here, you then tell it. So in the properties, there should be a material section. You can then choose one of the materials that you have, and we only have one right now, so it's this very top one. So honestly, that was like super easy. We're going to take it up a notch, but what I'm going to show you is something real quick that you can do that you're going to want to do to preview it for yourself on your phone, so you don't have to like just use this test image. What you can do, let me switch back over to my phone. Kind of blinked for a second. Okay, so you're seeing that now, but let me switch over. So this is actually a program that you can download off the Google Play Store or iTunes. So it's called the Spark AR Player. If you see it, it's in the lower right there. Has a little S design. You can go on the store and download that. And once you download it, you can then connect your computer via USB to just to your computer. iTunes might take a little bit more setup. I'm running this on Android. You can then open the Spark AR Player, which lets you then test the effects that you have. So let me switch back to, sorry. Let me switch back to here and do this. So I have this. So if I want to then send it to my phone to test it out, what I can do is on the very far left side, there's like a picture of an arrow pointing at a phone or a little like rectangle. Let me move myself back. And if you hover over it, it says test on device. So I click that, and my phone's connected via USB. Oh, is it not? Sorry. I think it's not seeing it because I have the camera set up right now. Let me just stop this. So just give it a sec. It might take a couple seconds to get set up. Sorry, I might have an odd setup here. So let's see. Oh, I'm still okay. So the really nice thing about this is that like once you get the design work done, or you're still testing it out and want to see what it actually will look like when people use it, you can send it straight to your phone. Why are you not connecting? Of course, the one time that it actually needed to work. So I am connected. Let me restart my Spark AR player on here. Sorry, folks. Usually this goes super quick, and it was working earlier. I am going to, let me restart my phone, and I'm going to keep moving ahead. Just give me a couple seconds here. So as that's restarting, what I'm going to do is, so like let's say, we'll preview this at some point when I get a moment. Let's say we want to like start adding objects that are maybe around the person's face, or maybe stuff that's like spinning around them, or doing something instead of just the face mask. What we can do is we can bring in more assets, and the nice thing is that Facebook provides like a resource in Spark AR to be able to like pull in other things that people have made, or you can even like bring in your own 3D models if you know how to work with those. So I'm going to go back down to the add asset in the lower right, or lower left, I'm sorry. And the second option should be, say, import from AR library. So if you click that, it's going to open up this window, which will give you like a bunch of little previews of like different things that you can get. I don't know why it's not loading. I think my internet is a little bit slow because I'm streaming. But they have like audio options. They have some patch assets which let you program actions into it. I'm going to use this one called 3D primitives. You can't see it because, again, slow internet. But I'm going to get a capsule primitive, which is like a pill shape. And I'm going to import free. It's downloading it. It says it's done. Hit done, and I close that. And then if you notice in the left of my in my assets, I now have a capsule. And what I can do is I can click and drag like the little capsule cube and put it right on my face filter. So if you notice here now, it's like a child of the face mesh that's there. And now I have this like weird pill, almost like a clown nose that's there. That's just kind of floating there. Let me see if this works real quick. This connects. Nope. Why do you not see it? I'm gonna have to restart this and test it again. Actually, I might be able to send it to my Instagram thing. Hold on. Yay for technical. So the cool thing too, while I'm getting this fixed real quick, is it's nice because you don't have to be limited to just using the face filter. You can also start adding your own objects and start putting textures and different things on those objects. So so I brought the capsule in and it's attached to his face. What I can do is they actually have an added option for whatever objects you have in your scene in the upper right, or the properties say. It says actions. You can just click on that, and they have one that says position on face. Maybe I want to put it on, let's say, the forehead. Let's see if it works. And see, it'll automatically move it to the forehead. It puts a little bit of code down here to keep it on the forehead in place. But rather than you having to type all that, it gets taken care of. I can also just turn that off because I'm not going to have it there. I'm just going to manually position it. So I'm just going to go up. I'm going to use the transformations in the properties. So I'm going to do like 0.2. Oop, that's a little too high. 0.1 on Y. Let's do like 0.15. So I have that. I'm going to click on the actions again in the upper right, and I'm going to choose the option that says animate, and I'm going to hit the one that says spin. So I click that. Now it automatically has this like spinning animation, which is kind of cool. And what I can do is that if I click on also my capsule on the left here, and I click the child of it, which is like the mesh that here, it has its own material, which I see in my asset library. I can go to that material and I can like change the color of it. So let's say like I want a pink pill. Yeah, we'll bring down the metallicness. We'll make it super shiny. Whoa, I don't know why it's so dark. Let me see. Yeah, I think that's fine. So I have that. I can then even, I can come here and like duplicate it. So now I have two of them, but with the second one, I'll move it to like the right by like 0.5. Let's do 0.1. I always forget it. And then move it down 0.1. Oops. I probably need to do minus 0.1. I'll move it down here. I can animate it again. I can like have it, I can do a floating animation where it just kind of goes up and down. So you kind of have this thing going on. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know why it's not. You know what? Maybe I have the wrong connection here. Yep. Yeah. I think I'm connected. I connected to the wrong thing. So I had the wrong cord plugged in to test this out. Before I send it to my phone, let me actually make another cube here or pill. Let me duplicate this, and I just right clicked it and chose duplicate, and I'm clicking the capsule, and instead of position 0.1, which put it to the right side, I'm going to do minus 0.1 to put it on the other side, and I'm going to add the float also. So now I have kind of this like funny thing going on. I'm going to make a new material for them too. So if I go to add assets here in the lower left, I can click material to make my own new material. I'm going to do like blue guy. I don't know why that. And then I'm just going to have it be this bluish color. For some of these things, like the, it's on standard. If you do physically based, you'll have a little bit more options to make it like metallic and everything. Standard is just pretty basic, where it's just like a color. The physically based shader, which is like tells it how the computer's supposed to see things. You get to do kind of cooler stuff with it. So for the blue guy, it's going to be that color. I'm going to make it super metallic, or no, not metallic at all. And it's the color I want, but I need to assign it to these two capsules that are bobbing up and down. So if I click on them in my scene, then it's right now it's on the pink one, so I change it to blue guy, and that guy has it now, and this guy blue guy. Let me make those guys spin also, because I think I kind of like that as well. So making that spin, going to the other capsule, and clicking actions and animate. And as you're working on this, if you're noticing like you can't find certain things, you might have like your object that you're working with, but then there might be other objects underneath that are the child of that. You might need to click on those childs to get more options. So in case you're doing something and you're like, I don't know where this is, that is, you just keep clicking on the ones until you start noticing that it's the one that you want. I also recommend when you create these to right click and rename them. So like right capsule and then left capsule, because eventually you'll start having tons and tons of materials that are going to be hard to keep track of. It's almost like Photoshop. If you the more complex you get and the less organized you are, the harder it's going to be to work with. So it'll save you a lot of time and headaches. Okay, so now I have the right cord connected. I have my Spark AR app on there. Now that it's connected, it's showing my phone. So it's a Samsung. I can hit the send button. It's going to take a little bit. The bigger your file is going to be, the longer it'll take. So then if I switch back over to, let me turn on my Smart View. And yeah, there we go. Let me change, sorry. So let me get back to the app. So I hit the Spark AR player. If you notice, I haven't. This project was named Face Mask. You can name it whatever, but it's the top. Shows up as the top one. And then if I do it, now I have it. Yeah. And that was super easy and like not crazy to do. And I even got more complex than you need to. Um, so you could bring in your own design. You could make this entirely different. So like let's say, so I can real quick here. If I go back here, like let's say I wanted to change the color of this face paint. Like I'm like, oh, I don't like the tint on that. Let's make it more. Let's make it kind of this like pinkish one. And then I want these two side blue guys. I want a different material. I'm going to make a new one that's just white. I'm not going to do anything to it. I'm just going to change it real quick. So this is taking me like, just notice how long it's taking me to do this. Just switching these so they're white little floaty objects. I like that. So now I'm just going to go back to send to my phone, hit send, and then let me switch back to this. So now it should be, I think it sent it. Let's send it again. I switch back to my phone. Oh, did it freeze? Yeah, it froze. Let me open it up again. So I hit the face mask. Now it's going to give me every time that I uploaded that same face mask. You can check out different versions. So like this was our first version, which we started with. Oop. Disconnect. So that's what we started with. And then if I click the latest one on the very top, now you'll notice like it made those color changes, and it did some pretty cool stuff. And again, like it doesn't have to be this gradient. You can put whatever images you want. You can put images on the actual, like the pills there that I have. I can bring in other objects. I just grabbed these really quick. So you can do some pretty weird stuff with that. You have like something spinning around my neck if I wanted. Let me see. I can actually probably get that working. So if I bring in, so if I add another asset, go to import from AR library. Again, it's not showing me. So I go to 3D primitives. There should be a, where is it? They got eyeball. Where are you? Helps when I want a torus, which is basically like tubed circle. So if I bring the torus in here and put it in my face tracker, now I have like this circle thing that is a little bit hard to see. I'm gonna make the scale like 2 times the size. Actually, let's make it like 4 times. Whoa, that's 42. It's not 4. But you can get crazy with this if you want. I recommend you do. Let's go higher. Let's do 6. I want it to be like pretty big. I keep doing like huge numbers on this. And then I'm actually going to do maybe like squish it down a little bit. That would be on the Y. So let's do like half. I'm going to push it down. I'd say like minus 0.25. Nope, that is too far down. Let me see. You might have to fidget with your positions. It's always minus 0.1 usually. Yeah. And I'm going to pull this back a little bit, minus 0.1. Nope. It's on the Z, minus 0.1. Let's go back a bit further, minus 0.2. So it kind of gives a weird effect. I don't know what that is, but yeah, that's something. Maybe you could tilt it a little bit on the x-axis by like 10 degrees. Yeah, whatever, we'll stick with that. And then I'm just going to change it to that blue color that I had, that material I made, the blue guy. So I have that now. Trying to think what else. There's other things you can add too. I'll just show real quick. You can make a, so even here in the scene section, you can add objects. I can add a 3D object, a plane, which is just a flat thing. Where is it? They have a particle system, which I'm just going to show real quick here. It's not going to work the way it's supposed to, but you can bring in a texture and it looks, you can like little fires or do some stuff with it. So I'm not going to get into the specifics here, but so like if I did that, let's see, let me give it a material. I'll do that. Let me see, it's a point. Let's do a ring. Sorry, and then we can change the particle. Let me see. Oh, the shape. So you can make like kind of weird effects here. So I can make more toruses kind of come out. Let's do the ring. So now I have this like weird effect where like Cheerios are kind of like coming out of the head. You can even add multiple like colors to this. So like, let me see. You can, I think you have to add another particle. So if I like duplicated this, if I just right click the particle, duplicated it, and again, I'm doing this real fast and like you might not want to do this. So now I have that. So you have this like weird thing coming out of the head. So you can do some cool particle stuff. You can also bring sounds in to do effects. One thing to keep in mind too that I did not talk about. So down here is a patch editor. This would probably be some other thing that I'd want to talk about, but basically you can use visual scripting. So you connect like little nodes. Like if you watched my previous videos, you use nodes to like do your visual scripting so things connect to each other, and that's like coding, but in a very visual way. The nice thing is here you can program some stuff. So basically, like if I like close an eye, you can have it then like trigger something. So maybe a sound, or you could have like a little sparkle come from the eye. You could have like where you saw in one of the effects where I opened my mouth and then like it had all the vomit stuff come out. You can do that. The one for like Ben, as soon as you open your mouth and it changes like the shape of everything and the sound suddenly changes as well. Here, let me send this to the phone while I'm talking. So you can do a bunch of really cool stuff, but mostly like when you're getting started, don't worry about that. Worry more about what you're doing here and what you're creating here. Let's see, let's bring something else in. I feel like we need, actually, let's check it out on the phone real quick. So I already sent it to the phone. Let me, oop. You're seeing how everything works. Whoa, surprise. So let me connect it real quick. And then, yeah, so see, now we have our particle and our weird like little neck thing. Hello, I am Floaty Face. And I have the mouth turned off, so if I like changed it real quick, if I went to the face mask and turned the mouth back on, you'll be able to see my teeth. So let me send it to my phone. And then I switch back here. Kind of crashes, I guess, sometimes when you send it while you're testing an effect. So I check that. And now the updated one. You can see my teeth. That might be a little bit creepy. Uh, so that's something you can play with. So let's say you are finished with your face filter and you want to submit it. Um, so what you can do, I think basically you can go back to your Spark program, and what you're going to want to do, you actually have two options. You can, as always, too, you want to save your project as you're working on it, just like anything on a computer. What you can do is you can package. You can hit the package option, and it's going to create it's called an AR project package. Um, you can name it whatever you want. And when you go to the Spark AR website, you can upload this file. An easier way to do it too is in the lower left where I uploaded it to my phone. I can actually click the upload button here, and what it'll do is it's going to run and check some parameters to see if you fit some of the basic requirements for Facebook and Instagram. You can click here to see like details. It's because they have like file size limits for like different operating systems, and then also like rendering options, which is basically like, can most phones be able to showcase stuff like this or not? And then you have an option here to upload the content as like a brand new effect, or if you have one that you've created before, but maybe you're making changes, you can like click the updated existing effect. And as long as you have you're logged in this program, you'll be able to choose what options you have. But here I can do publish new effect, hit upload, and then what it's going to do is it's going to start to upload. And I think at the end, I'm not going to show it here because I don't want to upload something that I'm not going to actually be having on my account. I think as soon as it's done uploading, it'll give you an option to then take you to the Spark AR Hub website that then you can start modifying and uploading your content. So the other things that you're going to need after you've uploaded your effect onto Instagram or Facebook is before it can get approved, you need a video of the effect like being used. Which the easiest way to do that is the option that I said to like send it to your device. What you can do is they have another option here that says send to app. So if you're going to make an Instagram effect, load up the Instagram camera and click, or you're going to want to load up your Instagram on your phone and send to your Instagram camera and click and hit send. So I can do this right now, and it'll export it to Instagram on their database for testing. So it takes a little bit to do. What it'll do is it'll give you a URL which you can like send to your phone, or you can share with friends even to test out. And then you click on that URL and it'll open up Instagram and let you test out the effect. So like here, test link. So I can click this. It's going to try to open it in my browser, which is not going to work. You want to copy the link, and usually what I do is I use like keep.google.com, which is basically you can save notes. I just copy the link here and then paste it onto Keep, and then go to Keep on my phone and copy the link. It's kind of a pain in the butt. It does send it to your Instagram, but usually it's like takes longer than I like it to be. So you can do that, and then the reason why you'd want to do that is you can in Instagram then record a short video, and then save that video, and you can upload it to the website to show like, since every effect they have it needs a video to go along with it, so people can see like a preview and be like, oh, okay, so this one has fire coming out of its nose or something. So they need that, as well as an icon for the app, which can pretty much be anything. They have like some stipulations, but usually I just like upload a drawing or a photo of me with the effect on, or you can kind of put your own artwork on that part if you want. And then that's when people are looking for your icon on their, like when they're making a story or filming themselves, it'll show that as a little button that they hit to like make the effect happen. And then once it's uploaded, you just have to wait. Again, you're gonna have to wait till after probably the COVID-19 stuff is over with and quarantine. But you can still upload this stuff in the meantime, and wait for the approval to happen. But that's primarily it. I mean, like I didn't go over everything. There's still like programming you can do. You can add more lights. There's even a whole effects that you can do for the background or remove the background. You can bring in your own 3D models that you design. But I find the easiest way to start is just start with the face mask element and then just create it from there. And really, like you could, even though I prefer that people spend more time making it, if you really aren't super tech savvy with it, you can just like have one project with a bunch of different types of face masks and just pump out a ton of different ones that you designed. Um, and you can get more complex as you learn how to use the program more and more. And I think that's it, really. If you want to get some of those effects I was showing earlier, you can just go to our Instagram, which is interactive. I think it's just interactive initiative. Um, I am terrible for not knowing. So if I go to my website and check out what our non-for-profit has for our thing, it's just that we have like a Twitter and all that, and it starts sounding the same. So it's interactive underscore initiative. If you go to that, then you'll find our account. If you follow us, then you'll get that Ben Mori like filter. And then if you want to get that other one, you can go to Wolf of Victoria, which is my personal account. But really, honestly, I hope you make your own and start using it to promote yourself, your artwork, events, or just like create something interesting that might make people start talking about more about like what you do as an artist. But that's it for today. I'll see you guys next week. I'm thinking about doing a stream talking about how to create your own visual novel. Another piece of software I'm going to get into. It's something that I hope artists start doing more, where they create their own games. And even if you don't want to create your own game, I think like a visual novel is still a good way to explore using narrative that's interactive. But until next time, we'll see you guys next Thursday at 8. Have a good week. I always am bad at fading.